If you own a Chevy Cruze 1.4 turbo, I'm going to give you a rundown on some problems here. A lot of misleading stuff on this YouTube channel, and I done went through it personally, so I'm here to tell you what it really is. P0299 turbo, or change the turbo, replace it. If you go to a dealership and they tell you it's the intake, fuck them, change the turbo. I'm telling you. If not, if you kind of are hesitant, at least take the turbo off and look at it before you go change the intake, because it's going to be about the same amount of money, give or take a few $100s more to do the turbo. But that's what your problem is going to be. Above the wastegate, there's going to be a crack, or the wastegate will be seized shut. Mine experienced both. My wastegate was seized shut, would not open, and my turbo was cracked. That turbo does not affect the way your motor runs, or that crack does not affect the way your motor runs. It just throws the code, and it will throw it into limp mode. Misleading. If you look at the forums, even GM says replace the turbo. I went through a bunch of parts, replaced a bunch of parts through per dealership, and got fucked. And it come to find out it was a turbo. Valve cover. That's not a PCV valve on the top. There's another name for it, but that will go. When that goes, it usually blows your crank seal, and you'll start experiencing a squealing noise coming from the side of the motor. It's not your water pump, it's not your alternator. If you think you have a water pump problem, that on most Cruzes it has an extended warranty on it. So don't pay for that. Take it to a dealership. At least take it to a private mechanic, have it diagnosed, because private mechanics diagnose a little cheaper than a dealership. Dealership's usually $165, $200 to diagnose, and if it ends up not being your water pump, then you're out $200. So take it to a private mechanic, see if they'll diagnose it. Don't tell them about the warranty thing, that way you know whatever, because some mechanics will diagnose for free, and then boom, take it in and claim your warranty. I've had to replace my ignition coils on this. These motors, they run a little hotter than they're designed to. It's just a GM fuck up, but they don't run too hot to where they shut up or blow anything off. So they just let them roll. You can run water wetter in the summer with straight water and then put some water wetter in it, but you're gonna have to put coolant in it in the winter. And 100% coolant does not make it run any cooler. Coolant leaks. There's one hose that goes to the motor. Like I said, these motors, they run hotter, so they got, you know, depending on your climate, you're expanding, contracting, a lot of heat on top of that, plus the heat days. One of my hoses got a little bigger than what it was, and it started coming out from around the hose clamp. These are them spring-loaded hose clamps. Fuck them, you don't gotta buy those. Go buy the hose, go to fucking AutoZone, wherever, buy your own fucking hose clamp, put a hose clamp on it. Fuck it. Okay, but when you put it on the motor one, if you don't change the hose, then you're gonna have to watch. You're gonna have to get that hose clamp as close to the front of the hose as possible to suck it down. You're better off just going to buy a new hose. That way you can just put the clamp on, whatever, roll with it. Valve cover, intake. I had my intake replaced too because of the turbo, but it didn't need to be. Dude, and another thing, like when it's the turbo, like, make a boost leak tester. You can make them you can go to Home Depot and buy all the stuff. Look, there's YouTube videos on how to make them. You know, put 10 pounds of pressure through your motor and spray some shit. And I'll tell you if it's your intake, because if it's cracked, it'll bubble. So, oil cooler gaskets. Don't let them change your whole oil cooler. It's gaskets. They did that shit to me. I paid almost $1,000 for an oil cooler, and it was some gaskets. At the end of the day, it was gaskets. I should have done it myself, but my car at that time was under powertrain warranty, so I was misled. They told me it was powertrain, blah, blah, blah. Long story short, man, I could have just did it myself and did some gaskets. So, yeah, man, don't let them fool you on the turbo. Don't change that. Make sure you change that fucking valve cover. You don't gotta, they tell you to do torque specs on them. Look, don't do torque specs. You don't need to do torque specs on a valve cover. Snug that motherfucker up, let the car warm up, give it another quarter half turn. Okay, that's it. Don't torque them. I used torque specs and broke one off in the head. Had to go buy a whole new valve cover. That's powertrain too for you guys that are under powertrain warranty. So is the turbo, but you're gonna have to fight tooth and nail to get them to take the turbo off to look at it, or at least to get a camera down in it to look at it. They won't. That's what they will not do, because it's a bitch to get these turbos off. It's a pain in the ass and nobody wants to do it, so they're gonna try to find every other excuse they can for that P0299. Also, when that valve cover goes, it's possible that it'll throw an injector code. It's not your fucking injectors, it's the valve cover. You'll hear the valve cover screaming. You'll hear it. That coming out of that valve. Take the Ecotech cover off, look down there. You'll hear it. Put your finger over it, you'll feel it. It's not supposed to suck that much air, it's not supposed to make noise, period. So that's just some things to look for. These motors suck, okay? I highly suggest get rid of it if you can. If you're not gonna go upside down like me, I'm gonna go upside down if I get rid of mine. So I'm stuck with it. That's why I put over 5 fucking grand in the motor. So I just want to help you guys out, man, and not go through the same thing I did. I've lived it. I'm not just talking off the, off the back of my neck. I know, I lived it, paid for it, did some shit myself. A lot of this shit you can do yourself. The turbo, you can do yourself. It's a bitch, though. It's a bitch. I ain't gonna lie to you. A lot of people say it's easy. It's a bitch. Them bottom fucking bolts are hard to get off. Hard to get off. So, yeah, but and like I was talking about the crank seal, when the crank seal goes, you'll hear it's like a squealing noise from the side of the motor. You'll be like, oh, it's the bearing and it's a clutch and the alternator, or it's the water pump. No, pull your dipstick out and you'll hear it stop. You'll feel suction. You'll hear it go, and then it'll stop making the noise. And as soon as you put it back down in there, it'll do it again. Sometimes it can cause an oil leak. Most of the time, it's just sucking air. That's pretty much what to look for. Like I said, I can't stress this enough. I've experienced this, lived it. Sitting in a Chevy Cruze right now. Okay, I'm not just talking shit. These are the problems. These are facts. So I got dicked. I don't want nobody else to. Any questions, comment underneath, whatever. My email, personal email, goleaner_Michael@yahoo.com. GOLEANER_Michael, MICHAEL @yahoo.com. Peace.